And then we all know that you made your debut on Rivals 1 challenge speaking.
Yeah.
However, there
I forgot.
is there is this one instance. I don't know if you've talked about this, but I've been so curious about this because
What happened?
I want to flash back 2 seasons prior because it was Fresh Meat too. I've heard and
Mm.
people know that we've saw that there was supposed to be a final girl, but they lost their passport, but it was never explained to us who that girl was.
It was
But I've
me.
heard that it's you.
It
Is
was
this
me.
true?
You know what's funny is because you know that now that Paramount has like all of the episodes up, one day I was thinking, I was like, did they ever say like, oh, Johnny lost her passport? So like I went back and watched like the very first like 15 minutes of it, but TJ literally says like one of our female competitors couldn't make it into the country, and I was like, oh my gosh, because Canada's like known for like not letting people in because of DUIs and whatever. No, it wasn't it wasn't any criminal charges. It was literally I lost my passport.
At the
So
airport?
yes. So what happened? So I was actually in Toronto the like day or two before, and I called the talent coordinator and I was like, hey, because they like book all of our travel and stuff. I was like, hey, can you actually switch my flight from Phoenix to Toronto to wherever we go? And she's like, why are you in Toronto? Or like, why do you think that? I think she thought I was trying to figure out like what country we were going to, but I was literally just there. But so went back to Arizona, and so we flew like Alaskan Airlines or something. And so our flights were set up. So usually what they do is they fly everybody, because we're all from different parts of the US, fly us to one city. And then from that city, they take our phones and all that stuff. And then we then travel together to wherever we're going. So this time, and is my first challenge. I knew nothing about the challenge or anything. Flew from Phoenix to Seattle. And even though it's like my rookie season, technically I was a vet because it was fresh meat,
Yeah.
So the 12 of us all stayed in hotel rooms. We were all like hanging out. I remember that
Who was your roommate?
When
When you guys were staying in the hotel, like, do you remember, like?
did we have roommates?
Oh, I don't know. I just assumed.
I think we were by ourselves.
Oh, okay.
I think we were all like, we all just like went and hung out in one room, and we're all hanging out and stuff.
But you were with the veterans, like you actually saw.
Yeah, so it was the 12.
Okay.
Yeah, I never saw any of the rookies. But so the next morning they're like, okay, our flight's super early, whatever. 5 a.m. we get to the Seattle airport, and we go through the process of like, they take our stuff, and then we're going to go check in to see where we're going and all that. And I could not find my passport anywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, where is it? Like freaking out, panicking. And I didn't know like what to do. So I was like, should I go back to the hotel? Like maybe I left it in my room. Maybe it's in somebody else's room. Like I need to go back. I was on the phone. I called the hotel. The town coordinator at the time, she was like, okay, well, we're going to continue on. Here's the info, whatever, setting it up. So the whole cast left. I went back to the hotel, searched. I got a key to all 12 rooms, even though I wasn't in all 12. I was just like, maybe somebody has my passport, freaking out. And then I messaged her, and I was like, hey, I can't find it. What do I do? And she's like, unfortunately, like, we start filming at like 6 p.m. or whatever it was. Like, since you can't find it, like, I'm sorry, we have to replace you. So they then called Evelyn, and Evelyn was like en route to Vancouver. And I remember sitting at the hotel, and I was just like, I literally just quit my job at the bar that Derek and I worked at. All my life was like building up to this moment. I'm like, it's my first season. I was so upset. And then I get a call from Alaskan Airlines, and they're like, hey, Miss Mannion, we have your passport here at the airport. So I guess what happened, so I was wearing this like salmon like hoodie, and so I had my passport just like in my pocket. Note to self, like, keep your passport somewhere safe. I flew from Phoenix to Seattle with Wes, and I remember we were talking about all kinds of stuff. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think that like Wes was probably doing that thing where he like recruits rookies or something. So, but anyways, I remember like my hoodie and it was just down here. So I guess what happened is it fell out of my pocket on the flight, and it's so crazy because there's so many times I think of like, what if I would have gone? What if that wouldn't have happened? And people from Fresh Meat too have told me like, we wish you were there because Evelyn came in and,
She
my
wreaked
game
havoc
got
on that
messed up
house.
or whatever. Yeah. So.
That was like my favorite house, like just structure wise, like how it looked. That was a
Yeah.
beautiful house too. I know you're not like a cold weather person, but that was a beautiful house.
No, I would love to go to Vancouver, but it was a cool house. Like once I actually went back and saw it, and such a cool setup because Fresh Meat 2, you got so many people from the Fresh Meat cast that then became a part of the show that I would have loved to have been there. But, everything happens for a reason. I can't, you know, for a few years following that, I was just like so upset. So I was like, I should have gone on that show. But